It is going to be brief. Mr. Marape and his delegation flew out this morning. They'll be there tomorrow, where the Prime Minister will be meeting with President Joko Widodo. They'll be then flying back on Friday. So it is a very quick trip. Mr. Marape says this is about elevating the bilateral relationship, and he says he's got to focus on trade and commerce, and he will be taking quite a few ministers, public servants and business people with him. Interestingly, in a statement before he left, Mr. Marape said he'd also like to see tripartite arrangements between Australia, Indonesia and PNG, and he says that's going to be a key part of the discussions that he has with the Indonesian president. Mr. Marape said that he'd like to see that covering issues like mutual security, borders and trade. So an interesting point there from Mr. Marape, given what we're currently seeing in terms of regional security. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to speak with him before he flew out, but hopefully we will get more details when he returns.
Yeah. Well, Nat, give us a sense of what the partnerships and security arrangements between PNG, Indonesia and Australia are currently like.
So the partnership in terms of security with Australia is definitely PNG's strongest. There are members of the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Defence Force who are actually based here in PNG permanently, working with their PNG counterparts. I mean, just this week actually we saw the PNG Police Commissioner in Australia meeting with the AFP Commissioner. So there's very close relationships there. And in terms of the ADF, we obviously also have the significant redevelopment of the Lombrum Naval Base on Manus Island. So, you know, that is a very close relationship. And in terms of that redevelopment of Lombrum, obviously PNG has a very big maritime border. It does have issues with policing its fishing grounds, transnational crimes. Certainly they'll make use of that base. But given that announcement was made in the lead up to 2018 APEC conference, which we saw a lot of geopolitical wrangling happening at, and given the US stepped in to join that, certainly the redevelopment plans have been seen in part as a way of countering any potential interest from China. When it comes to Indonesia, obviously PNG shares a land border with Indonesia, so it's obviously its closest neighbour. Now that's the area of Papua and West Papua, which obviously has a very prominent and active independence movement among the West Papuans. Now, they get a lot of support from the people in PNG and a lot of sympathy, not always from the politicians who tend to tread very carefully and aren't often outspoken about that. But we do see clashes along that border area on the Indonesian side and occasionally incursions across into PNG. So it's not as friendly a security arrangement or relationship there. However, we have just seen today, in addition to Mr. Marape flying into Indonesia, we have seen the Melanesian Spearhead Group, a regional organisation, accepting $100,000 from the Indonesian police for its own security plans, and the head of that regional group at the moment is also a Papua New Guinean.
Interesting. It's fascinating that Solomon Islands is working towards a security treaty with China. The timing's fascinating. Has PNG had any response to this?
Yes, that's right, Bev. Obviously, that throws all of this into an interesting light because we are seeing such heightened discussions around regional security on the back of those revelations about the potential security agreement between Solomon Islands and China. Now, we know Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison called PNG's Prime Minister James Marape on Monday this week to discuss that. Mr. Morrison said he also was going to be speaking with the Prime Minister of Fiji. Now, those are the three countries that went to the Solomon Islands assistance just recently in response to rioting and unrest. In fact, a second group of PNG security forces has just gone over again to Solomon Islands this week. So the fact PNG has been involved in that relationship, and obviously Australia has been making the argument that the current arrangements are working. So clearly they've called on PNG to have that discussion and perhaps to see if it would also push that line. I have asked the PNG Prime Minister's office for a comment about that phone call and the situation, but so far there's been no response to that and no public comment from PNG on that proposed security agreement.
Yeah, but still interesting shifts around the region. Great to talk. Thanks, Nat.
Thanks, Beth.